Today we are going back to basics with photography, keeping it simple, chilled and relaxed. I'm not going to be using any tripods, I'm not going to be using any filters, and I'm only going to be using a single lens, although this is a portrait lens which is equivalent to around an 85mm focal length on the full frame, so that should present a little bit of a challenge. Now, although I want to be thoughtful with my photography today, I don't really want to overthink the compositions. I'd rather just see the compositions, take the shot and move on. Now, for some reason, every time I come out, I always find the first shot a little bit awkward, so I'm going to keep this one brief and simple just to get it out of the way. I'm opening up my aperture here to f1.2 as I'm using this portrait lens, and I'm just going to pop these purple flowers in the bottom of the composition and knock out the background. Hopefully one of them at least is going to be in focus, but that's the first image out of the way. We are shooting fairly local today. This beautiful nature reserve is around a 20-30 minute drive from home, and although I wanted my photography to be simple today, because I've chosen a particularly challenging focal length for this type of photography, compositions are proving to be fairly difficult today. As we're in mid to late August, everything is still very messy at the moment, although there are some signs of autumn around me. Trying to find that clean, compelling composition is proving to be a big challenge. However, this is a welcome distraction from daily life, and it just puts your mind onto something else and just gives you a bit of a brain break from the average daily routine, and a very welcome break in nature. There's an interesting little composition here. I've got the stump here and I've got the tree at the side. I think if I back up and look at this straight on, I might try and make this appear. So this little mini tree is coming out the top of the stump. Again, I have to back right up to try and fit this into my frame given the focal length. Really loving the bit of woodland that I'm walking through at the moment, but from a photography point of view it is very chaotic, and it's that sort of classic problem within woodland photography, trying to find order in the chaos. Now, something I'd often do previously in this situation with a scene like this is that I'd normally reach for a fairly wide angle lens, something like an 18mm, and try and compose a wider scene. And what would happen, I'd get back home, look at the results and be generally unhappy. And although at the time I feel that I was capturing the scene as I was feeling it, it just wouldn't translate onto the computer, and the final result just wouldn't be what I wanted it to be. So to sort of combat this problem through experience, what I've learned to do is use a tighter focal length and be more selective with my compositions. Loving the looks of this little bridge here, although I'm not liking all the surrounding sort of undergrowth. It's causing quite a bit of a distraction. I'm just going to back up a little bit and see if I can fit it in the frame a little bit more as I'm using a tighter focal length focus with my feet, and I've got to be honest, that's looking a little bit distant in the frame. I go a little bit closer, I think. In fact, now I'm getting closer, I can see a better composition. We've got this archway, so it goes obviously over the bridge, and behind we've got the path leading off into the woodland, and I think this will make a great frame within a frame. Just trying to get the texture in the brickwork at the top of the bridge here, and we'll use this as a frame to lead the eye off into the image through the woodland on the opposite side of the bridge. Loving this carved mushroom here, rather random feature of this nature reserve. But I think actually, just looking back at the bridge I've just walked under, it could make for a great composition here with the mushroom on the left hand side, and we've got the path leading off to the bridge. I'm going to probably shoot at around f8 for this one. I want to keep the bridge slightly in focus, but I really want the mushroom to be the star of the scene. On video it's probably quite difficult to see the bridge further down the path that I've just walked under, but using the compression on my portrait lens, this is making a really nice pleasing composition. I'm really liking actually the way that the leaves sort of come around as a bit of a curve and add a bit of a rather sort of untidy but still natural frame to this shot. Really quite like this composition. In fact, I think it's probably going to be one of the best of this walk so far. Not a particularly compelling composition, this one, but this tree trunk here just caught my attention, so I'm just going to grab a quick image of it. I think in a portrait orientation once again, with these young trees, the leaves in the foreground here, just to give the image a bit of depth and a little bit of pop. Again, don't really know why it's caught my attention, but I'm going to take the shot anyway and see how it looks like on the full screen. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's a nature reserve I'm walking around today. In fact, it was Derbyshire Wildlife Trust's first ever nature reserve, I believe. As you can see here from the info board, it's known as Ticknall Lime Yards, which is a location that's got a big industrial past. And as you can see from the info here, it dates back to 1462. This area we're in at the moment, although very overgrown, is the main section where all the lime kilns were during its time of activity. Cracking little location. I've got to be honest though, I'm not really seeing any images down here at the moment. I'm certainly not going to be heading down there today. Really liking this scene here, although on video it may appear to be a little bit flat. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do something that's not often done in landscape photography, and that is use an aperture value of 1.2 to try and bring this scene to life a little bit. I've got these leaves dangling over at the side here. I've got this vine at the top that's coming down here. I think I'm going to use this vine as a focal point. I'm going to back up quite far here and probably compose something like this to try and get this scene so the eye goes through the image with this area in focus and the focus just sort of peering off as it goes down the path there. Once again, very simple, but hopefully it will work. This rather long and fairly dark tunnel marks the end of my walk today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this walk around the nature reserve along with my rather questionable photography. As always, thank you very kindly for watching, and hopefully I will see you again. Goodbye.